Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Phantom Frequency, of course, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, if you will, comic book movies, horror movies, anime, video games, whatever, what have you. We get into it here on the channel. If you're digging the vibe, if you want to join our community today, where we dive into all the stuff we love the most, make sure you jump down below in the comment section. Also, click the like, the subscription bell, all that good jazz. And thanks to all the new subscribers coming in each and every week lately. The channel has been growing slowly but surely, and that's all thanks to you. So we appreciate you so much. But today, we're going to be getting into, once again, we're keeping spooky season going here. But it's not completely horror, but it is fantasy in there. And we're talking about Agatha all along, baby. Episode 4 today. We're getting to the review and my recap for that and just giving you my overall thoughts on the episode. I thought this episode was definitely more enjoyable than the last episode for sure for me. I think the first half kind of took a little while to get going, but once they got down the witch's road and got to the house and to the new challenges they were doing and the whole 60s, 70s aesthetic and them having to create a musical or do a musical kind of cover or a new rendition of the song they sang to get into the witch's road in order to kind of get rid of this curse, and it's a generational curse and everything like that, to me was much more interesting. Definitely played into the themes of the show really well, and also did some really good stuff for developing the characters and showing them having a different skill set. And of course, this has been showing off Catherine Hahn's great musical talent as well as a vocalist, and I've been enjoying getting to see her do her thing, getting to see the other actresses do their thing as well. Patty Lapone, or I think that's how you say her name, the older lady in the Witch Coven. She's actually a Tony nominated or winning Broadway actress, so you know she's got the singing chops for days. I'm not sure if Catherine Hahn has done it, but I think she will eventually, seeing her kind of get into her bag here. But yeah, man. And like I said, with that second half, after they get into the musical number, you get to see the crazy ass demon and everything going on with that. And you get to see some of the bonding between the ladies in the end of it, kind of sharing their scars, which is in a sense kind of sharing their trauma and sharing their past and sharing who they are as people and what they've gone through with each other. And I think that was a really cool thing as well. And getting to see them kind of develop their kind of coven and kind of their relationship with each other over the course of the series, and where they have to trust each other and use each other's skill sets and use their strengths in order to get them through these challenges and to survive and to get to the next step has been a lot of fun. And I think this episode captured that vibe the most. I also think this episode overall did a much better job at raising tension, scares, fun, and humor all together into a blend. To me, that overall, I think the first half was a little uneven in that regard, but once they got fully into what was going on for the last like 20, like for the majority, like the 15-20 minute, like that second half of the episode, to me, super duper strong. Getting to see Aubrey Plaza finally get into the dynamic and be the fifth witch, now the Deborah Jo Rupp's character, Deborah, I believe, damn, I'm forgetting her character's name. But Deborah Jo Rupp's character has now been deceased, and they need to replace her. So they use this weird spell or whatever to get Aubrey Plaza back, and that was really cool as well. Really dug her weirdo energy throughout this thing, and getting to see her get on the drums, and at times kind of looked like she was really playing it, or someone just was doing some really great directing and telling her what to do for it. But maybe Aubrey Plaza knows how to play a little bit of the kit. You know what I mean? And that's always a fun thing for me as a drummer as well. So getting to see Aubrey Plaza into the mix here, and hopefully, and I'm pretty sure she will be a part of all the other 5 episodes to come. We're going to get that 2-episode finale, 8 and 9, Halloween, the night before Halloween, October 30th. So that's going to be pretty cool. But overall, I really dug this episode. Definitely my second favorite. If I had to rank them right now, it would be episode 2, episode 4, episode 3, episode 1. So I definitely really thoroughly enjoyed this one. Not as crazy stuff to unpack on it. Didn't get as many images either due to the limitations here. But getting into some of the big plot elements and things that I think we need to talk about, and some things that I want to talk about, with them starting off. Once they kind of do their little summoning spell or whatever, they end up getting zombie Aubrey Plaza popping up out the ground looking like almost like a zombie poison ivy type mix going on here. And they're like, whoa, what the fuck is that? Because at first I thought they were bringing back Deborah Jo Rupp from the dead. And I was like, whoa, you're necromancing people? Whoa, but apparently they're not doing that. And I was wondering how they were going to get Aubrey Plaza back into the series. And this was kind of, I think, a little jarring to do it. But overall, I'm just happy she's in the show. So not a huge deal or a big issue in that regard. And her and Aubrey Plaza, that is, and Catherine Hahn as Agatha and Rio, respectfully, dude, have a really interesting dynamic throughout this episode. Even at one point when they get to the house and they get their whole rocker aesthetic on, and she's like, no. and like Aubrey Plaza. I mean, I'm sorry, Catherine Hahn turns to Aubrey Plaza, aka Agatha, turns to Rio, and she's like, "No." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean, no? No, what?" And I'm like, "What does this mean?" Like, there's all these underlying mysteries in this show, which to me very much gives me those WandaVision vibes and those Loki season 1 vibes in the good way, to where there's an actual genuine mystery building up that's actually well crafted so far in keeping you guessing. It doesn't seem so contrived to keep you guessing. You know what I'm saying? So I really do appreciate that fact about the series and about the show in general. And as they're going through the house, you start seeing all these weird masks, and you get some references to Fleetwood Mac and other bands back in the 60s and 70s and things like that, which obviously for me being a music nerd, a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff going on there. And you can see that there's a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of trauma that's with let me get her name just real quick, because I feel bad not giving people the names and all that. I want to be thorough on this thing here. Let me see. It is the Asian lady. My apologies. My apologies. Ali. Alice in the show, but actually Ali on in real life. But Alice, kind of funny how her names are kind of similar to each other with her fake name and character name. But anyway, I mean, stage name and character name. But anyways, I digress. So as Alice is going through the house and everything she's seeing. She even sees a picture of her mother, which I find very interesting. Kind of the connection to her and her mother being kind of involved in witchcraft and kind of passing that down to her in a sense. And she even kind of seems like seemingly kind of possesses Patty LuPone's character and seems to be channeling her, channeling herself through her and telling her not to do the challenge, not to go through with this witch's road scenario. And Alice even alluded to earlier, right before they got into the house, that her mom died on the road. I think she meant like literally driving, like going somewhere on tour on the road. I don't think she means the witch's road, but maybe I misinterpreted what she was saying. So y'all let me know in the comments which way you think that goes. I think she was talking about literally being on the road, like on tour. That's literally the way most people say, like they say like on the road on tour. You know what I mean? So I think that's more what she was alluding to with her mother being a traveling musician, which is the reason why she has her old musical rocker aesthetic as well, and why she's into that whole vibe. Also, very much influenced by her mother in that way. And as you go on through there, you get the creepy kabuki mask and all the other stuff. And so they finally get to the part where they got to make the musical number and everything like that. And once they do so, it's actually pretty fun. I'm getting to see, like I said, Aubrey Plaza on the drums, Patti LuPone on the triangle over here. You got Agatha over there on vocals, and you got the kid, the teenager. He's playing guitar because apparently he could play a little bit back in the day. Once they figure out they got to make a musical number, try to get rid of this curse, because this curse is literally burning them and burning their skin and leaving like permanent marks and shit. So they got to create this incantation to make a circle around themselves actually right before the musical number in order to keep the curse at bay, which that is the generational curse that Alice has to deal with. Sorry, accidentally skipped ahead, guys. But Alice is dealing with this generational curse that burned her skin and gave her this permanent mark that her mother also had. And it seemingly seems like no matter how many generations are to come in her family until she breaks the curse, they're going to be dealing with it as well. So that's a whole aspect to the show that you're like, oh, wow. And Agatha doesn't seem to get affected by these things as quickly as the others. And that to me is a very interesting dynamic. I don't know if it's because the Darkhold things are kind of deep within herself or what, but I think there's a very interesting story reason why that is. But she does end up getting burned by the curse a little bit later during the musical number of the performance. But I do find that interesting that Agatha always, it takes a while for her to get affected by any of these curses or any of these things going on the witch's road. But like I said, it might be because she's uber powerful, really, maybe just physically even now after having the Darkhold and accumulating all the power she did over the years and all the fucked up ways she was doing. So maybe there's like something going on there. Maybe she's just a strong witch in general, or maybe she's the the counterbalance, the yin to the yang of the Scarlet Witch in Wanda Maximoff, but just the Scarlet Witch entity and that whole legend in general. So there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different theories that you could throw onto that aspect of the storyline, which I definitely really enjoy. And once we get deep into this music number, you see this kind of smoke going around that seemingly indicates that's where the cursed entity is. And once the cursed entity is revealed, it is this freaky ass looking like female monster thing, man. Like, it is so freaky and crazy. It was in the trailer, and that was one of the visuals in the trailer where I was like, yo, that's real horror imagery right there, because that's fucking creepy. That's something that's going to stick in your head. And for younger kids watching the show, whether that's, boys or girls, I think they're going to get freaked out by this thing because this thing's weird and creepy, and I liked it. And it looked more so like practical effects. It looked like somebody in a suit, and if it wasn't, then it was excellent CGI, and that to me is a huge plus as well. So I absolutely love that element of this episode. The real creep and the real scares really come through in that way. And once they get rid of this curse, and the curse is kind of like burned up or whatever, after the musical number is finished, they get through their challenge in the Witch's Road, and they're going to make their way to the next stop, but kind of make a stop in the forest to kind of go over things that went down and kind of bond a little bit and get to know each other. And that was one of my favorite parts of the entire episode, was that last few several minutes before they start getting into all the rest of the stuff. Agatha takes Rio off to the side, and they're about to have like a full-on embrace, like a lover embrace. That's why I think some people got all crazy online, and I was kind of thinking the same thing, that they had some kind of romantic connection. And this is no DEI stuff, guys. You know what I'm saying? Let's all relax a little bit, you know? And, you know, I figured they had that kind of pass because there was a lot of sexual and just sexual tension in the room in that first episode. And that kind of tension is different than scary or I'm going to fuck you up tension. You know what I'm saying? It's different. And if you don't know, maybe you need to get out more so you can find out. But I definitely felt that in the first episode. Very plain and obvious to see. It was not a friend thing for sure. So I think people thinking that people were jumping to conclusions really don't pay attention and don't get out and date enough. But anyways, moving on. So that's pretty much it for the episode for me, at least. That's kind of all the big story. Oh, one thing I left out. My bad. My apologies. Rio actually in this embrace tells Agatha that's not her son, referring to the teenager, because obviously there's no other dudes there. So I think this is kind of confirming, but not necessarily yet. Anything can happen, but I think this is somewhat leading us in the direction of the reveal being this is truly Wiccan Wanda Maximoff's son, reincarnated with someone else, or somehow became a real person and was brought to life, or came through the multiverse. I don't know. But either way, this seems to be her kid, Billy Wiccan Maximoff. You know what I mean? Billy Maximoff, Wanda's son, Wiccan, as he's known in the Young Avengers comics and things of that nature. So are they setting up some Young Avengers? They have been putting in a lot of characters from that comic book and from that side of the Marvel lore. So I'm very curious to see where that's all going to go. But like I said at the top of this episode here on the recap and the review, I really dug this episode, had a lot more fun with it than I thought I was going to initially starting out. And I hope that the rest of this episodes of the season go more in this direction and can keep me more engaged with it like I was with this one. But overall, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it and all that down below in the comments and everything. And make sure you're sharing this with your friends and fam and all that stuff so we can keep growing the channel and getting all these cool people in the community to discuss all this stuff. Very rarely is there ever any negative comments, and a lot of those I try to ignore because people just always got to find a reason to hate. You know what I'm saying? But overall, it's a solid show. I'm having a good time with it. Not my favorite thing going on. My favorite thing going on right now is The Penguin, and those reviews are going to be dropping every Sunday or the following Monday now that they switched up the premiere days from Thursdays to Sundays. Not exactly sure why they went with Thursday to begin with, but anyways, I digress. They're doing that. So we're going to have the Penguin episode 3 review dropping Sunday since I'm off work. So that should work out. And what else we got coming up? Oh, yeah, I got another fun review coming for you guys. Another retro review with a very special guest. Wink, wink. And we got some more spooky season stuff that's going to be dropping every single week, including the new releases of Terrifier 3 and Smile 2. I'm probably going to be getting to do all 3 Venom movies this month. So we got a lot of dope stuff going on here on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't sleep. And we're going to catch y'all again real soon. All right. And until then, make sure you stay safe out there and much love. Peace.